work for it. I'm talking to the one that wants to go beyond the limit. I'm talking to the one that is willing to work a little bit harder than the next man or the next woman. I'm talking to the one that's been through hell. I'm talking to the one that really wants to take it to that level that no one has ever been. When you step into that room, when you step into that environment, you got to be hungry enough to eat what is coming your way. You cannot be.
Hello, what's up, everyone out there in the YouTube and Facebook community? Welcome to the Coach's Corner Radio Show on the Coach's Corner Radio Network. I am proud to bring you episode 6. Today, we are going to talk about something that really keeps me going because I live by it. It's something that is another thing that hits home to me and regulates with me. And there's so many people that want to always ask, how do I do this? How do I do that? And maybe I need to bring it back here. I've thought about it and doing a whole pyramid of success. But with that pyramid of success, one of the biggest topics we're going to talk about, especially this evening, is commitment. So many people talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. There's so much more to go into commitment rather than just the word commitment. And this goes for, like I said, about anything. Are you committed to yourself? Are you committed to your family? Are you committed to those key valuable friends to you? Are you committed to your craft on getting better? Are you committed to, like I said, anything? This goes for, I know I sound like a broken record, but it really goes for anything you do within your daily life is commitment. How well are you committed to the cause, the source, yourself, your friends, your family? It's been going on for years. But there's such a big thing about commitment. And I'm going to tell you a personal thing about commitment that I've learned over the course of, 31 years. Back in the day, and I can say back in the day, when I was, in high school, probably a sophomore, maybe a little bit younger, maybe, about a sophomore. I really had no concept of the value of that word commitment. There's so much more to, like I said, the word commitment. You just like anything you want to apply yourself to in life, in your, work life, in your relationship life. How well how well committed are you to that? Whatever the task is, whether it's a work assignment, whether it's a job assignment, commitment is so valuable. And I really think, truthfully, and this speaks for myself until I could figure out what commitment really was. I really think a lot of these younger generations or, these student athletes lose out on so much because they really don't know or understand the value of commitment. And things like these topics, in my personal opinion, should be taught in these schools, in these private school systems, in these public school systems, because again, there's so many things just with that word involved in it. And of course we can go into sports. That's what I live for. That's what I live by. How committed are you to your teammates? How committed are you to get better at your craft? How committed are you to get better at your position? How committed are you to sacrifice those, late nights of video games? How committed are you to, taking that extra time and learning a play learning a position, learning a drill, learning how to be better at what you want to be better at. Um, and people can flock me in the comments for whatever they want. But this generation is like I said, they think that they know commitment, but until you have lived commitment, don't come talk to me, because I'll go back to like I said, 2000. I don't know, let's just say 2006, 2007. I understood what commitment could get you. I understood the task at hand on what commitment could bring to you. But and this probably is another topic for another day, but I never really understood the sacrifice that commitment, if you gave gave it your all, just like if anything in your life that you do, how valuable it is, how rewarding commitment is. It's just being committed to being great, being good at what I love to do, has really changed the value of the game. It's brought a different spotlight to the game for me. Um, and it really does pay off, just like I've told you guys 1,000 times on everything else. As long as you commit to it and you do those things, it will pay off. But the value of commitment, you can really dig deep and talk about a lot with it. So it's really a kind of motivational kind of thing for me nowadays, because I've seen what the commitment can do for you. As a coach, as a player, I am fortunate enough to say that I've had probably a handful of players, just in these recent years, offhand. I mean, I can name about 6 names, um, of players that have crossed my path, that I've been able to teach the value of commitment, the value of practicing your craft, the value of this, the value of that. And they've really taken to it. They've really bought into the system. They really bought into the belief, the character, the camaraderie, everything that applies to this valuable word commitment that people want to use and abuse. And I'm not going to mention names. I'm not going to sit here and flock on any particular person or human being. But there's still, and I see it every day, it your character shows more than you realize. As the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. And that is something also that I lived by, and that I've been characterized by, and stuff like that. So it's just a thing that's really, I've been thinking about. And just with the current situation that I'm sitting in, and it's not a bad situation. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm comfortable, but I'm not, satisfied. I still know that there's more out there for me. I know that I'm quote unquote different, or I'm looked at differently, or whatever the case may be. And I know I'm talked about still to this day. And like the sayings go, the more they talk about you, the more they're worried about you. And I'm a person, and this is a platform that I use to be a little bit more open and broad. I'm a person more kind of like not really reserved much anymore. But if you have something to say, come say it to my face. Come, come confront me about it. There's so many things that I find out behind closed doors, or I have to find out with my own kind of investigation. That's kind of, not really dirty, but dirty. It could be done a lot cleaner, a lot better with proper communication. And there's so many people that don't have proper communication. And with the world we live in, people want to think that social media is the communication. And I'm all about one-on-one, direct in your face. Let's talk about it. Let's hatch it out. Let's figure out a game plan, and squash it and be done with it. And that's just, again, another part of commitment. How committed are you to, getting yourself better? How committed are you, wanting to make your program better? I've seen it firsthand. There are so many players and there's so many coaches that talk the talk, but really don't go out and find the resources to walk the walk and help them. I understand and, um, in a sense, respect the fact that, there are a lot of people that don't like to, delegate coaches, or other individuals to, kind of have a word or a say in their development or their program or their skill set, or and that's another thing that I've learned. uh, you have to let your coaches coach, you have to let your assistants coach, you have to let them build relationships with these athletes, because that's a sign of getting respect from them. You have to allow that communication to happen. You really do, and these coaches still, and I'm not going to mention names, but I do know a handful that want to micromanage, and I will say it's about a 1.5% of micromanagers that become successful. The more successful things that I've seen in life in general, is where you have a team of people, or a team of coaches or a team of staff that can, get at the same level as some of these kids. I'm currently dealing with a situation where I'm coaching one or two kids that, I've talked about it before, that have a rough life at home. And more of my commitment this, flag football season is to make sure that those, student athletes can be successful on and off the football field. And it's unfortunate some of the situations that these young student athletes get put in place. And, to be completely honest, it's, out of their control. And I'm, mature enough and old enough to understand that it's out of their control. It's extremely unfortunate for them, and I wish them, the best, and I can give back to them as much as humanly possible. With some of these, and I've been there before, but with some of these, headstrong, individuals who think that they know the right way, unfortunately doesn't always pan out to be the right way. But back to, commitment for me, back to the commitment thing for me. Again, it's just it. Excuse me. It hits home because, like I said, back in, let's just say 2010, I thought I understood, commitment and, practice and what it does for you, but truly, after 2010 to now 2023, just like you would do in life, you learn so much. um, and people, um, again, not mentioning names, but were coming after me because they said that I took, it too hard on myself, for a previous game that we had that we, tied in. But in order for me to grow as a coach and to, get better for my players, I have to, I take things personally because I'm that committed. I spend countless hours drawing up new plays, drawing up new formations, putting, student athletes in many different positions. It's a chess match. There's so much out there that, you know that people think that I really don't know, and that I quote unquote hide. But and I had somebody approach me the other day and say the same thing. How do you get these guys to do what you want? You love them up. You coach them really, really hard, and you love them up. You give back to them. And there's plenty of ways to do that. And again, this is not a place for me to go into details on what I specifically do. And like I told the individual who, was asking me like 1,000 questions, if the opportunity presents itself, come check out one of my practices. And to be honest with you, that is very difficult to do. I'm a person that doesn't allow open practices. That's just something I don't believe in, because if you're not in the building from day one, what gives you the right to be in the building, day 26? and want to come, and it's not it's not about if you want to come steal my plays, or you can come steal any play you want. I told a guy a couple years back in basketball about coming in, and he's like, "Can I get this play?" Yeah, you can get the play, but you have to get your kids to want to play like that. Is really what it comes down to. There was another situation this year, about 3 weeks ago, where I'm not saying I was, but the quarterback or whatever was able to bring his team back and get them to respond. And if you coach them really hard, they'll play really hard, and you'll have great results. And that's one simple way to go about that part of it. But again, back to the commitment. It's within everything that excuse me, you choose to do. Um, and you can't slack from it. So many people, and I'll be open about it, even family included. They sometimes tell me, "Oh, well, you give too much to it, or you put too much thought." No, I really don't, because that's how much I'm invested into it. That's how much I'm committed to my craft. That's how much I'm committed to these players, to get them better, to get them right, to do the right thing, to win ball games. And that's how you win ball games, is the commitment. And I'm gonna stress that word 1,000 more times. Commitment, commitment, commitment. Remember that. Start bleeding that through your brain. Um, and that's another part of changing something in life. How committed are you to that, to change it? How committed to that are you to make different a thought process? How committed to that are you to do this or to do that? Again, so many people want to abuse that word commitment. So many people want to go here or go there or waver off the path. And like I'm going to sell to my players this week, all we need to do are a few things. Look at the man or the woman next to us and say, "I got your back." Then we need to uh, visualize success, trust the process, all the things that I continuously preach, and they work. But it's how you get your players to respond, how you get your student athletes to commit, how you get your own children at home to commit to chores, to commit to doing their homework on time, to commit to having dinner, or to commit to blah blah blah, anything. And I know there's a lot that people, oh, but how, but how. I can't tell you how. I can only come here the times that I come here and give you the tools to do those things. You have to put those tools into play. It is not my job to, make you commit. I can only give you the words of wisdom and the words of advice and the experiences that I've been through to get you to want to commit, to want to be better, to want to do these things. Um, and again, I do have a handful of people that come to me and ask me thousands of questions about this or about that, or how am I able to change that, or how am I able to get them to do this, or get them to because it's a sign of respect. If you go in respecting your players and you show them that you care, and you show them this, and you show them that they're going to respond, I will say, in this generation of children, though, or student athletes, it is a challenge. The response um, isn't quite the same. You have to find creative ways to pull that out of them. You have to, again, commit to. In the very beginning, my very first week of flag football practice, I made it very clear we are committing to 3 days of practice, for 3 weeks at least. And then we just recently backed that off to a couple days a week, because, again, building a system, building a program, building a team, putting them together, getting them to understand, these plays. It's commitment, it's dedication, it's sacrifice, it's all these things in one. And that really, sums it up there. And, that's commitment to me. And your value of commitment, or your level of commitment, could be way different than mine. And 99.9% of you, it is your family's level of commitment is probably different than mine. Your, vision or thought process of commitment is probably way different than mine, and that's okay. That's okay, but just understand whatever level of that commitment is, what you're going to get out of it. If you put your blood, sweat, and tears in the commitment, you're going to get your blood, sweat, and tears out of it. If you go around and say, oh, yeah, I'm committed, but you don't put in the time, you don't put in the work, you don't practice your craft, you don't practice your plays, you don't study your playbooks, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do schoolwork, you don't commit to, your teammates, your family, yourself, you're not going to get what you think you are out of it. And that's a really big thing for me. So that's commitment to me. I know it is only about a 21-minute episode. Don't forget to please follow, like, and share this particular podcast or video or audio clip or whatever you want to call it. I am trying to get back to at least airing one episode a week, possibly two, to kind of throw it off course a little bit here. We've had a really interesting NFL football season. We have several teams that have maintained a decent record, and then we've had other teams that are like kind of really high above water, and they look really good. Like for example, you got, let's see, San Francisco 49ers, you've got the Eagles, and what's really cool now, everybody's been beat. There's no undefeated teams, which I think is really neat, and pretty much every team's up for grabs still. You got the Dallas Cowgirls who blew it against us, and then you get them bouncing back, and again, they probably committed to their team and did what they needed to do and took care of business the next week, and that's how the sports world works, and it's been really cool. And then of course you got the newest scandal of supposedly Michigan going around and copying plays and hand signals and whatnot. So that's all going to be talked about. You have Alabama finding different ways and to win. You have Colorado still winning, and people don't like that. And yes, technically they blew a 29-point lead. They shouldn't have blown that lead, and that's sports. That happens. No excuses, but they're a very young team. And silly stinking mistakes like that are bound to happen, unfortunately. So that's my kind of sports take and where we're sitting right now. And the last couple of weeks of the NFL is going to be really interesting, in my opinion. I think and some are going to get at me for saying this, but I think the Chiefs are going to drop a couple more, and I think it's going to be a really interesting playoff bracket, and you guys will probably already know that I'll have a decent show on that. I'm supposed to be getting together with a buddy of mine, and we're going to talk in probably another 4 weeks or 3.5 weeks about where we sit. So that'll be a whole segment. That'll be a whole show. It's really cool. But like I said, make sure you guys follow, like, and share. Also, make sure to follow, like, and share on YouTube, on Facebook. We're there, Coach's Corner Network. And if you have a small business and you would like an advertisement during these shows, I'd be more than happy to work with you in your business to do that for you. We'll come up with some graphics. We'll come up with some logos, and and we'll talk about how to do that and what that takes to do that. So I'm glad to kind of be back, and I hope to be here next week and possibly 2 days next week, once on Monday and once again on the following Friday. So I hope you all have a great day. I hope you can learn something from this episode, and we'll see you next week. Have a great evening or great morning or whenever you catch this. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Time to understand that if you want to get something out of your life, You got to be willing to work for it. I'm talking to the one that wants to go beyond the limit. I'm talking to the one that is willing to work a little bit harder than the next man or the next woman. I'm talking to the one that's been through hell. I'm talking to the one that really wants to take it to that level that no one has ever been. When you step into that room, when you step into that environment, you got to be hungry enough to eat what is coming your way.